Welcome to Pneumius Torah, Vayeilech, of Tafshin Pei Gimel. Wow. Shuva. We are holding Hey Tishrei.
Hey Tishrei?
Hey Tishrei. Yeah, Hey Tishrei. Wow. Hey Tishrei. Halfway through. Getting to the halfway point. We said a remark today from the Vilna Gaon. Pasuk this week's Parshas. So this is Moshe Rabbeinu's last day in this world. So we know, Moshe Rabbeinu was desperate to go into Eretz Yisrael, and his desperation to go into Eretz Yisrael because he just wanted to do mitzvahs, right? He came to a point. He said, I don't even need to do mitzvahs. I can go as I go as a bird. I want the kedusha there. I know Olam Hazeh is a place that has in an opportunity that does not present itself in Olam Haba. Even Moshe Rabbeinu Olam Haba, right? Lashon Chazal it says Hakel V'Achai, right? Is much better off than Ari Hames, right? The person in the lowest madrega in Olam Hazeh, has so much opportunity that the highest madrega person in Olam Haba has nothing, right? And so Moshe Rabbeinu just wanted to be in Hashem's world, in a place that there's a connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that's greater than Olam Haba, which is very hard to imagine. And there's a different Vilna Gaon. I haven't seen it inside. I wouldn't mind seeing it in its source. But the Vilna Gaon makes the following statement: that people think that closest to HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Olam Haba. Right, that's what we think. Ultimate close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and the emphasis is that, look at Mesilas Yesharim Ramchal. He describes that Olam Hazeh has all these filters, does not allow you to appreciate Ruchnius, and the makom where you have the ability to appreciate Ruchnius is Olam Haba. Right, that's Olam HaNeshamas, and it's a makom that's Mesukim Lekach. Right, it's created daika for Gemul, right, which we think of the Gemul schar is ultimate korban HaKadosh Baruch Hu, dveikus, right? The true dveikus. Everything, all the dveikus in Olam Hazeh is just called dveikus b'koyach. Every mitzvah that you do connects you to Hashem. Every time you learn Torah, you're connected to Hashem, but it's there b'koyach. It's there. It's potential energy, right? It comes to Olam Haba, and all of a sudden, all that potential comes to Lamaisa. Now, what do they call potential and kinetic? I don't remember what the different. Yeah. So. It's the energy's there, but it's there. It's called b'koyach. It's there in B'taras potential. And Olam Haba comes l'maisa. So you would think, true connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Olam Haba. He's not going to go no. He says there's no greater korva possible than Olam Hazeh.
Korva is what?
Closeness, connection. Oh, right. The greatest connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Olam Hazeh, because the way I understand it is connection, true connection, is making connection. Right? It would be sort of like, let's say you put your hand on your hand like this, right? So for the first 20 seconds, you feel that your hand's there, right? You're touching something. After a minute,
get used to it.
You don't feel like you're touching anything, right? Mm-hmm. The connection is when you make the connection, right? Once the connection is there, so it's connected, but the experience is very much diminished. That'll just be a muscle, right? But in reality, Olam Hazeh, there's such tremendous koyach going into the connection, because there's so much minius, there's so many things that are holding you back from that connection, and pushing, powering to make a connection, right, is the ultimate connection, right? The force of making connections is a much more powerful connection than the actual connection itself. That's the way I would understand this. Olam Hazeh has in it, due to the fact that there's such hester, HaKadosh Baruch Hu's presence is so diminished, and we sit and work to expose that. Us exposing is literally creating a HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're creating a HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? We create His presence, and when we create something, that becomes the ultimate dveikus. The ultimate oneness comes with something that you created, that you made. So Olam Hazeh is the ultimate connection, and this is what Moshe Rabbeinu didn't want to lose, right? He's going to be nifter. That's it, right? I tell my kids, Moshe Rabbeinu would give anything to put on a pair of tzitzis. He would give anything just to answer Amen once, right? Moshe Rabbeinu, right, to give Amen once, to say.
Isn't his yard site
Zayin Adar?
Zayin Adar.
Yeah.
So what does that have to do with now?
Oh, because he's dying in this week's parsha. I mean, next week's parsha. But right, he's 120 years old today, and he says.
The moment that he's talking right now.
Yeah, this week's talking Parshas Vayeilech.
His last four Parshas was his last day.
Last day, yeah. So, so Moshe Rabbeinu is desperate to go into Eretz Yisrael.
So what does Olam Haba have if being here is so much greater of a connection? What does Olam Haba have that's the ultimate ideal place to be?
Right. That is the question that lingers after you hear the going. So how could it be that you end up in Olam Haba and it doesn't seem to be a tachlis? How does the ultimate tachlis come to an end?
You're just sitting and enjoying.
It's hard to know. You know, I don't have an answer to that question. You know, because how could the tachlis be less than the getting there?
The price there.
Yeah, getting right. How could the ultimate tachlis be less? But that's what he describes, the beauty of Olam Hazeh, right? The cheshek, and it could be on some level the actual experience is greater, but as far as the value of it, right? The value of the Zveka is much greater than Hazeh. I think that's sort of would be describing. So Moshe Rabbeinu is desperate to go into Eretz Yisrael. Hashem says sorry, right? Moshe Rabbeinu says, I don't need to go as leader. Let Yeshua be the leader, right? And Moshe Rabbeinu understood. You know, every manig, his time, when every leader, right, when his time for his leadership ends, right? Chazal tells, when you have a king and the next king is ready to go, ready to come on board, your melucha has to end. So Moshe Rabbeinu understood that. Okay, if Yeshua's time is here, my time's over. Let Yeshua be melech, and I'm not going to be melech. Right? Let Yeshua be the manig. I'll be Yeshua's Talmud. Okay, that's where Moshe Rabbeinu tied it. So the Medrash says that on this day, the last day of Moshe Rabbeinu's life, Yeshua has a nevuah. Kadosh Baruch comes to Yeshua and tells him and speaks with him. Moshe Rabbeinu asks Yeshua, "What did Hashem say?" So Yeshua says, "Hey, for the last 40 years, Hashem came to you to talk to you. Did I ever ask you what Hashem said?" Moshe Rabbeinu said no. So Yeshua says, "Okay, so why are you asking me?" Right? So the Medrash said Moshe Rabbeinu, he felt mamash totally deflated, and he said, "Yafem mea misais." Right? It's easier to die 100 times mikina achas than one kina. Okay, that's the Medrash.
Kina is what?
Jealousy.
Oh.
Okay, it's easier to die 100 deaths than to have one moment of this intense jealousy that I just experienced.
It's like Hashem Shemayim, not like he wanted to be part of the act, but he literally felt that lack. It's not like he was jealous. Oh, he got it and I didn't. Not petty jealousy.
So the Medrash is a Tamur. What Yeshua seems to be, you know, Yeshua is Mamish Mesharas Moshe. Everything he has is Pnei Moshe Pnei Chama. Yeshua is Mamish just a Levani, just a reflection of Moshe Rabbeinu. How could he be so? How could he be so sharp, right? So on the surface mean. So after Vilna Goyim, he says like this: Moshe Rabbeinu had to leave this world. Hakadosh Baruch had Rachmanas and Moshe Rabbeinu. If Moshe Rabbeinu leaves this world and he's feeling so bad about what he's leaving behind, right? It's going to be his exit is going to be have a chesar to it. Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted Moshe Rabbeinu to leave willingly. Benefesh chafetz, says Lashon. He wanted Moshe Rabbeinu to leave with acceptance, with total acceptance, total equanimity. So, what did Kadosh Baruch Hu do? Kadosh Baruch Hu came to Yeshua. You know what he told Yeshua? I have a message for you. The guy doesn't say it like this, but this is the way I'm saying it. I have a message for you, Yeshua. The message is when Moshe Rabbeinu asks you what I'm telling you, tell him that I never asked you for 40 years, why are you asking me? So the whole conversation with Yeshua is only one conversation. That Yeshua is given a nevuah to transmit to Moshe Rabbeinu word for word what Hashem told him. So that's what Yeshua did. It wasn't Yeshua's response, like, well, you know, I never asked you. It was exactly word for word what HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him. In order that when Moshe Rabbeinu heard HaKadosh Baruch Hu's response, that he gave to Yeshua, he would realize that you can't be civil to this one response. Can you imagine being civil day after day of Yeshua being the leader and you being you being just a regular follower? So Mela, This was the way the guy touches up. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Rachmanos HaMoshe.
So that was to answer his backup plan that I'll go in and I won't be the leader.
Huh?
That was Moshe Rabbeinu's. That was the response
Right.
to what he said. I'll
Yeah,
go
right,
in.
right. Meaning, I understand. I could be
Yeah, but why would that change? There was a problem with him going into Eretz Yisrael.
That's a different story. That's a different story. But it could be that if he didn't go in as a manig, she wouldn't have all those problems of Maisi, the Moshe, the Chorban that that Chazal say that Moshe Rabbeinu would have gone to Eretz Yisrael, would have built the Beis Hamikdash, could have never been destroyed, because Maisi de Moshe is something that is nitzchi. And if the Beis Hamikdash can't be destroyed, then Klal Yisrael doesn't have the eitzah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shevach HaMosai al eitzim v'al avanim, right? But if Moshe Rabbeinu goes in, if Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't go in as a manig, so the building of the Beis Hamikdash won't be Misyachas and Moshe. It will be Maisi de Yeshua, Maisi de David. So Mela, it would accomplish the same thing.
So a bird would for sure be okay, because that's far less than
So mitzad that, it would be the same thing. But mitzad, the Moshe Rabbeinu would feel in a matzav of diminished, and he'd have to go through not just kin achas, but kin a day in, day out, right? Even though maybe he would have worked as mean as he wouldn't have done that way. But at the end of the day, and this was the message, this was the experience that Moshe felt at that point, that this is the experience that Moshe Rabbeinu felt at that point, that it made him, according to the Vilna Gaon, right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu knew what to give Yeshua to say that would bring Moshe Rabbeinu to the nefesh chafetza to be willing to live this world.
It wasn't being fresh.
Right. It wasn't Moshe's response, right? It wasn't Yeshua's response. It was Taka Kodesh. It was Mama's in the Nevuah. So
Moshe Rabbeinu's response,
it used to be
right, the fact that he hopped the message.
Whether Moshe Rabbeinu chaf that this is a Kodesh Baruch Nevuah or not, that's not so clear from what the guy is saying. But it's like when we were kids, right? One kid you want to upset another kid, right? So you go over. You go over to in front of another kid. You whisper in his ear, "I can't tell you." And a friend, "What did he tell you?" "I can't tell you." Come, please tell me. I'm telling you, I can't tell you. You know what I'm saying? It's like.
So you shouldn't say that part either. Because then the guy gets interested, gets peaked. They're like, "No, you must tell me until you spill the beans."
That's what he told me. He told me I can't tell you. Supposed to tell me anyway. He told me, quote unquote. So, but that's the Gaon's Vart over here. It comes out what looks like a tremendous achzarius, right? For Yeshua, he's telling Kosh Baruch Hu, "Do I have to say that? Yes, you have to say that." You know what I'm saying? And the whole what looks like on the surface to be a story of achzarius, right? It ends up being just Rahmanis, which is B'chal lesson in Aylam Hazeh. Aylam Hazeh, it has people go through all sorts of matzavim where you're thinking like what does Hashem want from me? It doesn't seem to be nice. You know what I'm saying? And recognize that, dig a little deeper, and you're going to find that everything is exactly where you need to go. It's interesting lately. I have one of my kids. He's going through a little little Parsha, discipline, whatever, and struggling with growing up a little bit. And I tell him all the time, just trust me, right? What you're going through is normal, right? Just trust me. I'm going to help you through this, but just trust me, And everything that I go through with him, and all the conversation I have with him, I'm immediately projecting, right, that I'm telling him to trust me, and who am I? Nothing. And I struggle all day, every day with trusting God Baruch Hu. You know what I'm saying? So you see when you the message you give your kids, Kerachem of Abanim, right, becomes literally your mashal to the true nimshal, which is that whatever you're trying to impress upon your kids, I'm going to help you. I'm here for you. Just put your phobias on the side, put your fear on the side. Trust me, you're gonna get through it. And then you say, "Hey, I sit with phobias, fears, and all sorts of things all day, and I'm sitting here after many, many years of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Chesed, Baruch Hashem, breathing on Me'eh V'Esem Shana, Baruch Hashem, also tremendous Baruch I didn't share, and you're worried that tomorrow's not going to work out. You know what I'm saying? So that's what you have to recognize, that every matziv of doubt And we were talking about things that seems about achzaris, but even forget achzaris, people live with matzavim of doubt. Every matzav of doubt is only to give you an opportunity to say, hey, I have doubt when I think like a boss of Adam, when I think like a kaifer, when I think that I'm responsible for myself. What do I have to do? I have to work on my outlook, right? And then you start working on your outlook, and you know what? You discover Rishis Baruch will take care of you, and you recognize He just took care of me all these years, and all of a sudden you feel a sense of calm, emunah. But what did you accomplish from this sense of Hester? You accomplished from the sense of Hester as well. You uncovered HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes Hester in order to allow you to have this chus of uncovering the Hester. So when it is be'emes Hester, people have fears, lack of security. That's be'emes Hester. What's going to be tomorrow? It's be'emes Hester. What do? You peel away the Hester, and you megala HaKadosh Baruch Hu in this one. That's the gilui of Kfayt Hashem, and where a person literally discovers the Kadosh Baruch Hu to a point where he has a sense of comfort. You brought a Kadosh Baruch Hu into his veld. You brought him into your family. Your whole life all of a sudden takes on a sense of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's oversight and emunah. So that was maybe a lesson from this nice verse from the Gaon. And to hear us and we should be talking to always see HaKadosh Baruch Hu's presence and always recognize that everything that's going on is to bring us to a matzah that's only going to benefit us, and not to be like the child who doesn't have the ability to yet totally trust his parents, despite the fact he trusted them for so many things, And we should talk about Zaychet to have a Munah Shleim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Amen.